Welcome to Honestly Rated, and today we'll be talking about your favorite bubble blowing baby, Big Bubble Pop Fizz. With Big Bubble Pop Fizz, we are in a unique situation for Honestly Rated. He is the first re-envisioned character from Superchargers that we're gonna be rating, and he's gonna have to set the precedent today to show off that either the re-envisions that they decided to do for characters was a good thing or a bad thing. And I'm not gonna get into the weeds of it, but I'm very complicated with this character. Now, since Big Bubble Pop Fizz and Normal Pop Fizz have the same lore, today we'll be switching up and taking Antavius' job and giving you a fun fact. And that fun fact being, Birthday Bash Big Bubble Pop Fizz is the longest name a Skylander has with the least amount of spaces. And you can flip it the other way because Legendary Bone Bash Roller Brawl has 28 characters also. And if you don't include spaces, they're equal up. But if you do include it, then technically it's like in second for longest, and also at first for least amount of spaces. So take which one you want, but we are proud of you, Big Bubble Pop Fizz, for at least having something. And Antavius, I expect a different little fun fact about this guy. I didn't really look into it too much, so I'm expecting a different one. One last thing I want to say is that if you want to see your Skylander on Honestly Rated next potentially, all you gotta do is leave it down in the comments. And if you go back and see what game I haven't done recently, you might have a higher chance, I won't lie. So do that with your will, but I promise every single character will go through. And if you want to subscribe and put notifications on, every single Saturday I release these videos. And I know today is not Saturday, but with new game releases and stuff like that, I've been a little bit backtracked. But I promise you, by next week, everything should go back to the normal Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday uploads. But other than that, it's time to go see how big of a bubble Pop Fizz can make, and hopefully it doesn't burst a little too early. Starting us off, we are a little bit underpowered with Bubbling Blast and Bubbling Beast form. And the reason I'm going to say they're starting off shaky is because they feel like a lot of nothing right now. And that's intentional. Obviously, Pop Fizz gets a lot more openings as time goes. But we are talking about the beginning, and it's a little bit rough. Trying to get a big area of enemies to die is kind of hard. When things get really close up and personal to you, you want to use your Beast form, but you can't really switch, so you have to like run away and then switch because Beast form does take a bit to activate. Beast form itself doesn't really have a high damage output comparatively to the bubbles, and it's like somewhat equal. I think you do more damage if you use Beast form compared to the bubbles, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot to incentivize me to want to use Beast form. Again, I'm guessing the upgrades in the future will let you like make this a lot of a better situation, but starting us off is not too great. And if you're a little too close to enemies with the bubble blower, sometimes I've seen the bubbles not hit the first enemy in front of me and just go into the wind, into some other enemy all the way in the back. So again, we're starting off shaky, but I understand that it's going to get better as time goes on. So let's just move on past this and see what the next one is, which is hopefully our little experimental backpack shit. Luckily, I was right on the last one. We get Mixture Modifier next, the chemicals and shit that I get to switch. And again, a little iffy, but for different reasons. So we get two new ones. We get a soda launcher or a shit launcher. I don't know what the fuck that color's supposed to represent. And acidic base one. Now, the soda launcher I like the most. It is soda launcher to bubble to acid. That's like my ranking right there. And the reason I like the soda one is because it does 5 extra damage at basically the same pace as the normal bubbles. It's a lot more things up close, which again, the bubbles have sometimes trouble in doing. And the reason I don't like this one is not even for what it does, it's for what it causes. If I'm doing the same amount of damage with my soda launcher comparatively with the beast, because the beast does the exact same amount of damage, I don't have an incentive to go to the beast. Personally, I would rather just sit with the soda launcher and just launch shit at people, and instead of having to go to the beast and potentially take damage, it's not really worth it in that sense. So I'm hoping in the future we get like a beast upgrade in the primary that ups the damage of it, because without it, the soda and beast form being at the exact same damage is not great for incentives for wanting to use other things, right? And I like characters that have an incentive to use other things and combo with them. And then we go to the acid thing, and this is more of just what it is that I don't like. The acid itself isn't bad. I wish it caused like lingering damage, because it is kind of hard to kind of keep an enemy into a small puddle for a very short amount of time. It's like probably like 5 seconds you can have it there, and with all those seconds doing a piece of damage, you get like 50 damage off if they stay there. It's also pretty slow to shooting, comparatively to even the Soda one, which I feel like is supposed to be the slowest one. So, yeah. Again, Pop Fizz is a very upgrade-heavy character. He really gets all of his power at the end, comparatively to like having like a good amount of basis in the middle. So it's really at the end I can really base him off of it. But for now, there are some problems aligning that kind of need to get fixed in the primary, hopefully, comparatively to having to split paths. But we'll see. Things only go a little farther with the next two upgrades, Know Your Basis and Side Effects. This even pushes the narrative of the beast being weaker than our normal projectiles even more. Know Your Basis allows us to have more damage for all three of our bases that we're using. And with that, instead of only being the Soda shotgun that the thing does more damage with, or actually equal to, it is actually doing more now. And it's even doing even so much more that even the bubble one, the natural one that we got first when picking up our character, is doing more than the beast. And again, if I'm going to play as the beast, someone that is very risky to use, that has very basically low damage now, what is the point? There is no point. I'd rather stay safe and use something that I can actually use from far range without getting hit. That's not great for character balance wise, you know? And then the other thing we got is Side Effects, which is actually a positive. There's no negative I can talk about there. Well, except for one minor thing, and that is when you switch out of your beast form back to your normal form, you do get upgraded defenses, so you hopefully don't get hit. And obviously that's a good thing because there is a risk to going into the beast, and that beast is just dealing damage to yourself. The only thing that I could say that doesn't make any sense is why not make it for transforming into and out of. I get the beast is like supposed to be, I guess, defensively tankier because of how big he is, but I feel like just adding both would make the beast transformation a lot smoother, a lot less riskier, and allow you to use it in situations where potentially you can get hit, but it doesn't really matter because you could potentially get the little bonus risk off. So there's some things there, you know. Not bad upgrades. Obviously, I do like extra damage. I think they just put it to the wrong thing. But we do have one beast upgrade before we go into secondaries, and hopefully that can maybe switch things up. Maybe I just skipped over it, and it clears this whole thing up. And that move is being called the Genetic Engineering. Now, this is going to be a basically follow-up from our normal one where we learned Triangle, where we got 3 other base moves for our base liquids, where now the Beast gets 3 extra moves based on what liquid we transform from. And they're all in a league of their own. There's one that's really good, one that's pretty mid, and then one that's pretty bad. And the one that I find pretty good is going to be the green one, the acidic one. The reason being is that it's a green gas that flows out at a fast rate, dealing high damage at 22 at a long range. And you can hit multiple things pretty quickly. Now, you can't hold these things for infinite amount of time, but it is honestly a good amount of time still. And I don't know why you would want to. It's a very risky thing to do. Then the next thing, down in the mid section, is going to be a bouncing bubble. The reason I like the bouncing bubble around more mid-central is being that it's doing 31 damage, which is nice. It's more meant for a singular kind of thing to hit, and I don't see a lot of use in it. I definitely think it's good for like a follow-up attack after just doing some normal slashes, but it's not doing a lot to favor Pop Fizz here. It's not doing a lot, but it is helping. I won't deny that. The thing that I find most mid, though, is being my baby orange shotgun soda blaster one, the orange color. Reason being that it is like a Crash Bandicoot spin that does tickle damage. We're hitting them with wet napkins, apparently, instead of our fist, because we do 7 damage. What enemy is going to die from 7 damage? That's not a Chompy. What's the point? I don't understand things that do like minute amount of damage at like a semi-fast rate if it's not super fast. If it was a super fast amount of damage, okay, sure. I can see you could chip away something and then run away and just kind of go at it. I don't like Chompies aren't really that much of a dangerous thing, you know. I can hit them with one hit and they still die. It doesn't have to be a super fast rate based move. But yeah, that's where I would put them all. I think the upgrade is good. I'm guessing it's going to be really up to the paths to really put them at their place. But if I have to compare this to normal Pop Fizz, which I feel like is totally fair in this situation, because, you know, they are supposed to make this character bigger and better. Pop Fizz, when you used to use his potions and stuff, and if you went for the upgrade where you can really, like, fuse them and do cool things with them, that was pretty cool. And I don't know how they're really going to utilize that factor into this one comparatively. So we'll see when the paths get there. Maybe they do find a way to really integrate all the things together really nicely. But I won't lie to you, I'm not holding up high hopes. So let's go on to the next upgrade, our top path. With the top path, we have Alchemic Maestro, which is going to deal with our potion crafting. And our first one starting is Larger Lungs. This is giving a hold-based move to all three of our base liquids that we have. First one being our bubble, which we get to make a bigger bubble that moves at a slower pace, does more damage, and if bounced back, it still hits, and that's pretty cool. That's something I really like with the bubbles, is that if they bounce back, they still hit the enemies, and if you're able to kind of keep it in one little place, or throw it off at some type of like ledge or something, and it kind of stays next to an enemy, it'll just constantly keep doing damage. So that's pretty cool. Then my shotgun shitter, we got just instant poop water. We just get to throw poop water like for free. Just whoever wants it, you know? It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice to not have to shoot it. It does go a little bit quicker comparatively to just our normal shotgun. Then the last one being our acidic spin around, I would say. We get to spin, shoot a bunch of acid everywhere, and that's it. That's all of them. I actually like all three of them. I think they all add a nice thing for all the base moves. I think the big bubble, again, pretty cool. Shotgun one, I like it. I like how he's doing more damage because of it. Pretty sure, like if you tap, it doesn't go that fast for damage wise. And even the acidic spin, I find that to be very useful because when an enemy moves back or moves towards you or moves away from you, there's a bigger chance that you can kind of lead them around in this ring around a rosy type style where you get to hit a bunch of things, and if things are behind you, running at you, you don't have to stare at them. You can just throw out acid. And even though, again, they're not really going to sit in it, there's a higher chance that it will be able to land in one of those other puddles and continuously take damage. So, yeah, this one I actually really like. All three of these. I don't really see a negative between them all. Next one is Force Science, which is honestly a move that I would expect to see as a soul gem. Now, what Force Science is allowing us to do is basically combine every single one and just shoot off from the high heavens a high damage, 25 damage at anything that comes around us. It's very risky in what you can do, right? You can't move while doing it. You're stuck in place while doing it. But if you do want to just kind of risk it, it is really nice to deal with high hordes of enemies, allowing just for a bunch of damage to get dispersed everywhere. Then you can pull out maybe your shotgun-based liquid or the acid one and just kind of linger some things and maybe get some things to get hit. Or obviously the one that would work the best, which would be the bubble one. And it can really tear down a large enemy of groups. And I really like it. I think the risk and reward is definitely there for how much is getting spewed. It is a lot of damage activating for it, and that is super cool. Again, it's something I honestly would see in a soul gem, so it just being in a primary path is pretty fucking cool. Now, I do want to say this right now, a lot of these upgrades are really making the beast not really that viable, so I just want to say that now. But let's go look at the last upgrade so we can move on to the bottom path, which is going to actually deal with our beast. The last thing on the top path is follow the formula. Now, this honestly fucking confused the shit out of me when I was trying to do it. I was so confused on what the fuck it was different about this, but I figured it out, and the thing that this additional add-on's doing is that every single time you switch to a different liquid, it adds a new property to it. So, with our bubble one, we get to launch back. With our shit water one, a little bit of water will come from the ground and bounce enemies up. And then for our green one, we get to poison enemies with linger damage. I'm glad they thought of it in some type of way. It doing less than the normal acid would, but yeah. I actually find this pretty cool because if you do know which one's coming up next, which you probably should, I feel like when you get to that point, you'll be like, okay, I'm going to the blah, blah, blah. It's pretty cool. You can kind of use that to your advantage, right? If you got a big area of enemies coming towards you, you know you're going to use the bubble one next, kind of run up to them, press the button, bubble, launch back everything. If you got a solo enemy right next to you, launch them up, and then maybe switch into your beast form, right? I still don't really see a use in the beast form right now, but you can if you really want to. Then the acid one just puts on poison, so you can go up to a big enemy and poison them and then run away like a bitch and start throwing bubbles at them. So, yeah. I like all three of these upgrades. I don't think they're bad. I think they're pretty chill in what they do. It's definitely giving the beast a hard time. So let's go look at the bottom path and see if they can kind of make it up at the bottom path and really make it equal here. Brass of the Beast is called at the top path, and it's going to deal with our Beast form, with a better Beast and Juiced Up being our first two, which, let me just say, both of these upgrades are pretty fucking cool. I definitely like it, and it does actually change a couple things. So, Better Beast is allowing us to just consistently do the move that we get to have. Now, for our little fucking Crash Bandicoot spin, that doesn't really matter. That doesn't really change. That's still ass. But the bubble one, I'm honestly going to say, it probably actually outranks our green shit that we come out of our mouths. Again, I don't know what the fuck that is, nor do I want to even figure what that could be. But it's a lot better now. The bubble honestly allows for a really nice escape plan comparatively to just a normal standard like one press where it just kind of does like a little hop and you just kind of hit stuff. You can just kind of like go around enemies, just do like little loops around them. And then for our green one, it just allows us to consistently hold that. And, you know, you can, it's a little bit of a risk and reward situation there too. It's just kind of like the top path where you can kind of keep spewing if you want. You can kind of kill things. If you let go, though, just know that the green shit that comes out of your mouth that is not, after you jump or something, is not dealing damage. It's just purely there because they're stupid and they couldn't fucking end the animation quick enough. So just letting it be known now because that kind of confused me a couple times. But other than that, I like these two. They definitely should have been there. I think Juiced Up should have been part of the primary path. Because again, if you're going to allow us to deal more damage with the Beast form, and then allow us to go for like top path to maybe upgrade our things more, and maybe then that the damage could do more, it would be a lot better. It's a lot more incentivizing. Other than that, I can't really complain. So, on to the last upgrade of our bottom path. And that last move is going to be called Feed the Beast. Now, that name has no fucking correlation to the move at hand. I won't lie. But, more importantly, what is this move about? Well, it gives us 3 additional add-ons, just like the top path third upgrade, where we get 3 extra things. So every single time we do our special, so the spin, the gas, and then the bubble, we get an extra thing added on. The bubble allows us to knock up enemies into the air. Our spin allows for shit juices to spew out of our fur coat and hit multiple enemies in a big area. Then our last one, the gas one, allows us to slap enemies with our gas and poison them. So with all those, it's pretty cool. The reason I'm going to say this one's shittier than the top one, though, is because they say to perform a move. When I think of performing a move, that means right when I do the move, and when it's done, bada bing, bada boom. But if you jump before the move ends, you technically don't get it to perform, so you might not get it a lot if you jump a lot. It honestly took me like 5 minutes to figure that out because I kept jumping out of things to dodge things, and then it just wouldn't apply to my hands. You know if it applied when your hands are glowing. If they're not glowing, then it's not going to happen. So look out for that. But overall, for path-wise, I think the top one's better. Like, I don't know what about the Beast just doesn't hit the mark on this one. It just doesn't do something right. It doesn't do something right. I think the top path is really the way to go. I really like everything that's in there. You get like the big sprinkler thing. You get the added effects to the base form. And I feel like I use the base form more than the Beast. And that's because, again, like the damage there wasn't really there. Now it's kind of there. It's like a 36 and shit. Which, it's still not a lot, right? Like our normal base shit is still doing almost the same amount of damage still. So is it really worth it? I'm not really thinking so. I think everything could have been a little different if they just put the juiced up upgrade into just the normal primary path. I think that's all they had to really do, and they just didn't put it in there. I guess it's you know, for a character like this, it's a little hard to kind of shove everything in there, but that's not great still, right? Like I can't just let it slide because of it. It just makes the beast form feel a lot less utilized comparatively to what I felt like normal Poffis could do. But we do have a soul gem, so let's go look at that and then go for the overall rating. Last thing here is Spiked Punch, and they mean spiked in both ways. We spike this punch so hard that we honestly make the enemies teleport like they're Enemies in Rain. I don't know why they do it. I don't know if it's like an arena thing, but you can see there, like they just teleport. They just like they just go around town, and it's honestly kind of funny. It's very useful. It's a good move. It honestly kind of it makes me think like it was supposed to be part of just like the bottom path. Is supposed to be like the shooting of all the goop from the top path, like equivalent. but then got moved into the Soul Gem side of things. I don't know why, but I like it. It's a good move, even with like the weird glitchiness that is either just for the arena itself, or it's just like a glitch in Imagineers, or it just for some reason works that type of way, which I don't think it does, because there's some enemies that just bounce normally. It's still funny, and just like the extra 10 damage it does, like it's a funny little move. I won't lie, I like it. It doesn't take away from anything. But time for the rating, and I think I know I'm gonna go with it. Alrighty, I went outside, blew some bubbles of my own. And I think I'm now ready to give Big Bubble Pop Fizz his rating of a 2 out of 5. I won't lie. This Pop Fizz is worse than normal base Pop Fizz, and I think that's the part that hurts the most. Supercharger restylings or reusing should really benefit the character in the biggest sense. But this one couldn't do it, and I think that's because Pop Fizz himself was already a character that honestly is pretty unique in itself. I think he's a pretty nice character. Again, at some point we'll do a normal honesty rated on him, and I'm gonna like him. He is a fun character, and this form of him just makes him worse. The Beast, not doing a lot of damage if you don't go with the top path, and it's the only reason he has a 2 out of 5. If it wasn't for that top path that makes him a semi-decent character, he honestly probably would have been the first character I would have given like a 1. Extremely, maybe a 0. I don't think I will ever have to go to that route, but potentially it could have been, and that sucks. It really does. I just wish they would have, again, Beast Form, more damage in the primary path to really give him some oomph, really make me want to use them. I wish there was a lot more combo potential between each 3 of the flavors of things that we have here, the 3 different colors, because they all just do their own different things at their own different lanes, and it becomes a point of like, okay, which one do I like using more, instead of like, okay, how can I use these to benefit me, you know? And that really sucks, because that takes away from what Pop Fizz really was, which was a character that was very experimental, and it was really about trying to use different things at different times. That was super cool, and it just took it away. So, yeah, Big Bubble Pop Fizz, you sad, sad man. I wish it wasn't like this, but sadly it is. So, that is my honest rating of Big Bubble Pop Fizz. Let me know what you guys think of them, and let me know what's going to you want to see next. If you don't know which ones I've already done, well, they're on a playlist on my channel for you to go watch. I think I have them in order from the very beginning to the very last one I've done, which I guess technically would be this one, since you'll probably be seeing it when it's up. So, yeah, thank you. Subscribe, put on notifications. They come out every single Saturday. Well, I'll make sure they'll come out every single Saturday now. And, yeah, thank you guys for watching all the way through, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.